and welcome to Fact or Fiction, a show where we discuss what made the news this week and whether it was real or not. I'm Suyash Barve and with me is the fantastically festive Jency Jacob from Boom. First off, a very happy Diwali to all our viewers and a very happy Diwali to you, Jency.
Happy Diwali to you too, Suyash, and also to all our viewers here.
Alright, Jency, it is Diwali. It's the festive season, but I assume that fake news doesn't have any travel plans.
Not really, because at the end of the day, this is the digital era and you can burst fake news fireworks sitting wherever you are.
Alright, fake news hasn't taken any time off, so we haven't taken any time off. We're in the studio. To start things off, let's go to a train station in Gujarat, which has become intrinsically involved in the life story of our Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Now, the story goes that the Prime Minister was a tea seller at Vadnagar train station when he was a child. Well, after a recent speech, that timeline and that origin story, if you will, has been called into question. Jency, tell us
So
more.
this has been called into question many times in the past as well, whether he actually sold tea as a child.
The actual veracity of that
the
story.
veracity of it. But what happened is a couple of weeks back, he had gone to his hometown Vadnagar, and there was a festive mood there. In fact, at the railway station, a lot of reporters reported saying that the tea stall from where his father apparently had sold tea was completely decked up, and there was a festive mood there because they were very happy about the fact that their most famous son is coming back to visit their hometown. But at the same time, a lot of people questioned the fact that if the station itself was built in 1973, that is when Modi was about 23 years old, when did he sell tea?
How was he selling tea as a
Yes,
child?
yeah.
The station didn't exist at the time.
But we did go back to railway history. We looked at a lot of the archives. We looked at a lot of documents which are there available on the World Wide Web, and we found out that the first railway line was laid on 1887. In the year 1887, between Mehsana and Vadnagar. So it goes back even nearly about what, over 100 years back.
Right.
And after that, there are different timelines. Now the Gaikwads who ruled the state of Baroda, they were the first among all princely states to actually work very actively with the British government to give up land and to donate land and to also set up railway lines. Yeah. And there are several other occasions where we've seen that Vadnagar has been mentioned in the archives. It does not mean that that Vadnagar only came into prominence. It came into prominence after he became the Prime Minister. But as far as railway history is concerned,
as far as existence,
yes,
it's been around for a while.
And in fact, though officially the station would have come up in existence only in 73, but even before that, the railway lines existed.
Alright, Jency, so that claim is absolutely false. The station, of course, did exist, but let's attack the central claim there.
Right.
Is there any way to verify or debunk the claim that Narendra Modi, our Prime Minister, sold tea as a child?
It's very difficult to do that. You have to take him on face value when he says that, because he's the Prime Minister of the country. In fact, several locals do still maintain that, in fact, he did sell tea when he was a child. Now, it's not very difficult to believe that. If you believe that his father sold tea and his uncle was in the profession of selling tea, then probably
it's perfectly likely that a child would have helped
their father, so they'll help their parents. So this is not very difficult to believe, though we don't know whether actually he spent a lot of time selling tea, but at some occasion he might have, because it's very difficult to prove this. There are no credible sources which actually tell you that he did it or not, or is it part of the very intelligent election campaign they ran in 2013,
right,
after Congress leader Manishankar Iyer made fun of him. Yeah. So that's where the entire conversation
came in. Which made it his humble origin story.
Yes,
yeah.
True. Yeah.
Well, if there are testimonials that people remember him as a tea seller, that must have been some fantastic tea. Well, we can't verify whether or not Narendra Modi was a tea seller as a child, or in fact how good the tea was, but the station did exist, so that particular claim is false. Now, Jency, would you like to know a fun fact about me?
Okay, sure.
I'm actually illiterate.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can't read, which is why Chetan Bhagat is my favorite author. Recently, the much maligned writer decided to state his opposition to Delhi's firecracker ban via Twitter. But Twitter responded with an old tweet of Mr. Bhagat's claiming that he was against firecrackers to begin with. So, Jency, is this fake news or another mistake of Chetan Bhagat's
life? This is clearly fake news, because they are referring to a post from an unverified Facebook page nearly a year back, last Diwali, where Chetan Bhagat is supposedly did say that there is, as far as celebrating Diwali with firecrackers, there is no pride, no honor, and there's no spiritual reward to it. Yeah. And he went on to say that, give some history, talk about how there is no history as far as celebrating
firecrackers. It's an anti-firecracker tirade, yeah.
But we actually tagged Chetan Bhagat on Twitter and we asked him whether did he in fact say this. He did not respond immediately. A day later he did respond. But we found that there is a verified Facebook page that Chetan Bhagat has where he has not mentioned this. This has come up on an unverified page, and clearly his views remain the same. Probably we don't know what he thought a year back, but we do know what he thinks now.
And the post itself is not original, is it?
It is not. It came up on Quora, and from there someone copied it onto this unverified page.
All right. It looks like that story isn't even half true. Moving on now to more serious matters. Did the government issue a diktat to the Bible Society of India to remove the word holy from the Holy Bible? Jency, is this another incident of fake news trying to drum up communal hate?
This is clearly a case of fake news, because what happened is when we received these messages on WhatsApp, very poor English, very badly framed.
Right.
It's very clear that
and it's always the government is like, as if the government is a singular entity.
The Bible Society would not actually come up with an information like this. In fact, we called the Bible Society, we spoke to them and we asked them, and they asked us to look at this letter that the chief of Bible Society himself had put out and had already leaked by then on social media, where he had informed all his executive members that if you receive any calls asking you about the fact that whether the government has actually passed such a diktat to remove holy from the Holy Bible, then please inform them that we haven't received any such diktat from the government.
Right.
In fact, they also pointed out that a year back, a similar kind of WhatsApp message was floating around, and at that time also they had debunked this and they said that they have not received any such diktat from the government.
Right. That is a deeply malicious piece of fake news, and we're happy to bust it, because honestly this is why Boom News exists. To bust stories like this one, which can do immense harm and start problems where there actually might be none at all. Now let's end today's show with fake news' favorite victim, Rahul Gandhi. Jency, he just can't seem to catch a break. At some point you have to start feeling bad for him. I know I do. What's he gone and done this time?
So this time there was this image and video which actually went viral, where Rahul Gandhi is coming out of a woman's loo. And there is actually also,
of course he is.
There's also a banner which has been which you can see there, which says that that this is for the ladies. Now, in fact, when we saw this image, we thought that that he can't be that stupid, right? Clearly, unless someone has directed him to go there, he won't do that. Now, there was an India Today story which talked about how he went into the loo. When he came out, there were a lot of people who had gathered outside and they burst out laughing. So clearly, making fun of Rahul Gandhi. And now that's something that was fodder for the BJP leaders on social media.
Of course.
Many of them put this out. Now, we've also referred to this ABP Asmita story, where they actually talked about, they did a kind of a fact check. They said that what happened is, now he is an SPG protectee. Now, anything that he does, he also has to consult his SPG, and only then they first go and sanitize the place before he goes in. And what they mentioned about is that there was actually, there were two restrooms there. One of the restroom was closed due to security reasons. There was only one restroom available, and they had cleared it and they had sanitized it before he went in. And that's the only time when he went in and he came out, and it was quite very quick.
Purely security measures.
Security measures. In fact, we spoke to a Congress spokesperson also who gave us the same reason and said that he has to do what the SPG instructs him to do, because at the end of the day, security is their concern and they have to figure this out. So clearly, much ado about nothing, and they just went about this, but clearly this was not the one.
Right, so the incident did happen, for sure. He did use a women's loo, but it wasn't an accident. It was very intentional. It was because of security cover. Alright, that's it for this week. You can find more fact checks right here, and you can follow us here and here. Also, if you see a story that looks dubious or you think might be fake, WhatsApp it to us on this number and we'll tell you whether it's fact or fiction. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.